Now we're at the cleanup part of the lab, which in this class usually happens at the end. You'll know you're getting more comfortable as a programmer when you start to think of these steps like at the beginning when you're designing and thinking about how your code can be more elegant and you can write a smaller amount of code and not do so much copying and pasting. But for now, I'm going to take a look at what the similarities are, and it's even easier to see in this block and this block because there's no comments. So I can see that there's so many similarities. I know that I'm going to be doing the same thing 3 times, and then it's almost exactly the same in here. The only thing that changes is this word, right? The rest of it is the same. So if I were to write this in a more general way, let me see if I can do it. I know I'm going to be using a loop, and I know it's going to go 3 times because there's 3 on each line. So I'm just going to write a quick loop here. And you know, in the glorious future, if I had more names on the line, or if I had a variable number of names on the line, then this wouldn't be a 3. This could be either a constant, or it could be a number that was passed into this method, or whatever. But for now, we'll leave it as is. Now I'm going to take a copy of this and put it in here and start editing to find out which are the things that need to stay exactly the same and which are the things that will change over time. Well, I'm going to, instead of calling this second, I'm going to call it current word. So 3 times I'll get the current word. I will get the first letter of it. I'll uppercase that thing, and then I will get the rest of it, and then I'll reassemble the word at the end. And again, I could combine many of these lines of code together. I could, for example, put the 2 uppercase right here on the end if I wanted to. There's one thing I could do. So I could instead chain this right on like this. And I might say string upper letter like this. Then I wouldn't need this. So there's a number of things that you could do in order to write fewer lines of code. This is an easy one because it's not too complicated. You know, you're getting a substring, 2 uppercase, not too complicated looking. And maybe I'll call this its own thing. And again, I could do this by combining upper letter and rest of word, or I could do it by taking this whole piece of code and putting it on one side of the plus sign and the other side. Because I'm in a video and I'm limited to a certain screen size and I'm trying to keep it manageable, I'm comfortable with this amount of variables. If I were writing this code myself, I would probably use fewer lines of code and do some combination of these various things, but this is totally fine to do it so far. And maybe I would comment here, the next word, uppercase the first letter, and then reassemble. Well, in this class, it's probably better to call it out individually, so get the rest of the word. And then reassemble. Okay, so that's what's doing for every word. The only thing that I'm kind of stuck with right now is that I have this printf down here that's using first, second, and third, and I want to get away from using first, second, and third and use my fancy one here. So that means that I need to be a little bit careful about how I do the printf. So let's see if I can do this a little more cleverly. I know each time through the loop, I want to do this, then I want to do this, and then when I want to do this. And only the last time, when I'm done, do I want to do the %n. So it sounds like I have 3 things, one thing that's repeating 3 times, and one thing that's happening once after the loop is finished, right? So let's see if I can make that happen. That means I'm going to need 2 printfs. Here's one for the thing that happens at the end. I haven't edited it yet. And the other one will go in here when I'm printing out the one that's repeating. So now that I just said it in English, the one that happens at the very end is just the %n part. And that doesn't take any arguments. It's just a new line character. The thing that happens every time through the loop is one of these happens. The loop is going to take care of making it happen 3 times. And then this thing is going to be my generic variable called current word. Ooh, okay, will this work? I think it will. Now that I have this here in the for loop happening 3 times, I should not need my second or third block at all. I should not need my printf at all because I've already taken care of it. And I should not need this whole thing here. Wow, look at that. That's not very much code at all because I have taken all the things that I had copied before and I've condensed it down to one for loop. So let me just run through it in my head to make sure this makes sense to me. While I have another line available, 3 times do the same thing. Find a word in the file, get the first letter and uppercase it, get the rest of the word, put them back together, print the word out 3 times. I think I've forgotten something important. Maybe you can see what it is. And then when the for loop is over, I will print out a new line character. Now, do I have enough brackets everywhere? I think I could maybe back this out one level here with the tabs. Oh, maybe not. Let me do my indents just to make sure. Edit, indent, indent lines. That actually looks pretty good. Okay, are we good at the end? Yes. Okay, so I'm missing something major, and let's see what it is. Dun, dun, dun. Not major, it's just, we'll see it immediately. That's why I like to run through my code in my head just before I run it, just to see if I can understand what it's supposed to be doing. Here it comes. Oh, trouble, trouble, trouble. I've got space between my, I've got no space, and I want spaces. I forgot to put a space in there. Okay. Ah, better, better. Oh, but look at this. I've got an extra space now at the end, just before the new line character. Honestly, in this case, I don't care that much. But if I did care, if this data file really needed to be perfect with no extra space at the end of the line there, I can't then put a space the last time through my loop. So if I really wanted to be careful about this, I would print this, and then I would conditionally print a space only if I were not at the end. If I not equal to, or let's say 3 minus, well, whatever. If I had a constant up here, I would do some math using my constant. There. So that should take care of my only printing the space if I'm not at the last one. So in this case, maybe it's overkill in this program, but let's be precise and get rid of that extra space. Precision is good, and especially with that tiny amount of code, it doesn't take that much work to get precise. Now I'm happy. No extra space, and I have space between my elements. All is well.